But why?
By the third, but why, most of us are improvising. By the 10th, we're negotiating. You start with something reasonable. The sky looks blue because of the way sunlight hits the air. And 4 questions later, you're somehow explaining why the dog has a nose, why noses are wet, why you can't have ice cream for breakfast, and why, exactly, you are the way you are. It is relentless. And you are being cross-examined by a person who still puts their shoes on the wrong feet. It's easy to assume they're doing it to wind you up. They're not. Somewhere around the age of 3 or 4, your child has made a genuinely enormous discovery. And why is the tool they've just figured out how to use.
It all clicks.
For the first couple of years, the world mostly just happens. The light goes on. The dog barks. Grandma appears at the door. Things occur, one after another, with no visible strings attached. Then, around 3, something clicks. Your child works out that things happen for reasons, that the world isn't a series of random events, it runs on cause and effect. One thing makes another thing happen. And the moment a small person suspects there's hidden machinery behind everything, they want to see it. All of it. Immediately. Why is the crowbar they use to start prying the world open? Think about what your child is actually doing when they ask, for the 40th time before lunch, why? They're building a working model of how everything fits together. Quietly, constantly, from nothing. They have no manual. They can't read yet. They can barely reach the light switch. Questions are the most powerful tool they own, and they're using it exactly the way a good scientist would. Find the thing you don't understand and ask the person most likely to know. That person, unfortunately, is you. All day. Forever. They actually want the answer. And here's what's easy to miss in the fog of it. They genuinely want the answer. Not just the attention. The answer. Researchers who've studied children's questions closely find that when you give a young child a real explanation, a satisfying one, they usually take it in, sit with it for a second, and move on to the next mystery. Give them a non-answer. Because that's just how it is. And they don't move on. They ask again and again. So that maddening loop, the same question 5 times in a row, usually isn't defiance. Half the time it means something very specific. You haven't actually answered me yet. The questions with no bottom. Some chains, though, no answer will ever close. Because your child has walked, in about 90 seconds, clean off the edge of what anyone knows. Why is it dark at night? Because the sun goes down. Why? Because the earth turns away from it. Why? Because it's been spinning since it formed. Why? And there you are, at the kitchen table, with a 4-year-old who has casually arrived at a question that kept actual philosophers awake for centuries. There's something quietly amazing in that, if you can notice it before the tiredness does. For a few short years, your child simply assumes the universe owes them an explanation for itself. And you know what? They might have a point. Sometimes why means stay. It's worth knowing that not every why is a hunt for information. Sometimes it's a hunt for you, the back and forth itself. Your voice, your face, your attention pointed straight at them is part of what they're after. A why at bedtime is often less about astronomy and more about 3 more minutes with you before the light goes out. Both things can be true at the same time. They want to understand the world, and they want you in it. You don't have to work out which is which. Usually the answer to both is just stay in the conversation a little longer. What actually helps? So what do you do around the 50th question when your own brain has gone completely quiet? Keep the answer short. You don't owe a preschooler a lecture. One true sentence is plenty, and honestly, it tends to end the chain faster than a long one does. Let go of having to know everything. I don't know is not a failure. It's one of the most useful things your child can hear you say, because it shows them that not knowing is normal, and that when you don't know, you can go and find out. Let's look it up turns a dead end into a small adventure, and every so often, hand it back. Why do you think? The answer they invent will often tell you more about how their mind is working than anything you'd have come up with, and they love being asked. The one move worth resisting is the tempting one, shutting it down. Because I said so works in the moment, but used often enough, the lesson a child quietly picks up is that their curiosity is an irritation, that asking is a nuisance to be managed, which is a strange thing to teach the one person in the house whose entire job, right now, is to ask.
It doesn't last.
There's a part of this that sneaks up on you. It doesn't last. The questions get less frequent, then less strange, and then, somewhere around the age when they'd rather ask a screen than ask you, they mostly stop. There's a narrow window, a few years wide, where you are the smartest person your child knows. The world is brand new, and they genuinely believe you can explain all of it. You will not miss the exhaustion. You might, a little, miss being asked. Long before any of these questions, before why, before words at all, your child was already learning from you in a quiet back and forth that most parents don't even notice they're doing. That's where we're headed next, the ordinary, everyday conversations that build a brain, starting from day one. We'll see you there.